Hi, fourth grade learners. I'm going to be reading a story called Seaman's Journal, and it has to do with our social studies unit in Lewis and Clark and the westward expansion. So I'm going to read the back cover to kind of give you a little bit of background. When Seaman, a Newfoundland dog, met his master in August of 1803, he didn't know that he would spend the next 3 years on an adventure of more than 8,000 miles. Seaman's journal is based on entries in Meriwether Lewis's journal and presents an account of the Lewis and Clark expedition as seen from the viewpoint of Lewis's dog. Join Seaman as preparations take place and meet the Native American guides and friends they encountered along the way. So, because this book is based on journal entries that were actually made by Lewis, this has history in it, but it's also fiction because it's told from the point of view of a dog. So right there it makes it fiction. So this would be, what genre might this be? I kind of gave you a hint. It's got history in it, but it's also fiction. Put them together, it's historical fiction, which means you are going to actually learn things that really happened in history through this story. So I'm going to break this up into 5 different parts, and each day you're going to have some kind of a response to this. So here we go. A word from Seaman. So ignore all my little sticky notes there. A word from Seaman. I'm going to go like this. My name is Seaman. I'm a male dog from Pennsylvania, and Meriwether Lewis paid $20 for me. I am a Newfoundland. I have 2 coats of fur, a thick soft undercoat, and a long silky outer coat, so I never get cold. I love water and have big furry webbed feet, which makes me an excellent swimmer. I weigh almost 150 pounds. We Newfoundlands love children and are very loyal. I will protect my master with my life. Here is my story of the greatest adventure a dog ever had, when I followed Lewis and Clark all the way to the Pacific Ocean and back again. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, August 1803. Now it's interesting because this is based off the journal entries of Lewis, and it's also told in the form of a journal entry, but it's from the point of view of Seaman, the dog. I have a new master, Captain Meriwether Lewis. We are in Pittsburgh waiting for our keelboat to be built. President Jefferson chose Lewis to be in charge of an expedition called the Corps of Discovery. We are to find a route to the Pacific Ocean. I am in charge of Lewis. Fort Wood, Missouri, April 1804. Lewis and I have been here for the past 9 months. I've hauled barrels of flour, cornmeal, sugar, salt, coffee, apples, and hard biscuits. Lewis has studied maps and books about fossils, plants, and medicine. We've packed shiny bracelets, scissors, medals, mirrors, army uniforms, hats, and flags to trade with the Indians. Sometimes Lewis and I study the stars all night. St. Charles, Missouri, May 14th, 1804. And as I read this, boys and girls, that's when I was born. That's my birthday. But hey, my birthday's the May 14th part, not the 1804 part. Don't forget that. Lewis, along with his best friend and co-leader, William Clark, 31 men, and I are off. In a pouring rain, we push the 55-foot keelboat and 2 pirogues, flat-bottomed dugout canoes, into the Missouri River. We travel upriver, and the men must push against its strong current. Camp along the Missouri River, May 22nd, 1804. A party of Kickapoos came into our camp. We gave them trinkets. They gave us deer meat. Trinkets, boys and girls, are just little things that you might have or they had that they would trade for other things. Things like when they said they had the scissors and they had the shiny bracelets. Those are little trinkets that you use to trade, and that's what they used to trade. The men were so hungry there was almost nothing left for me. Along the Missouri River, May 23rd, 1804. Most days, Lewis and I walk along the riverbank as Clark steers the keelboat. Often, huge flocks of passenger pigeons block out the sun. Lewis sketches them in his journal while I look out for rattlesnakes. While I was splashing in the muddy river, chasing after fish, Lewis fell off a limestone cliff. Luckily, he caught himself on a ledge and was saved. From now on, I'll keep my eye on Captain Lewis. So as we're reading this and they're going through different parts of the country, we're learning something about the animals that live in that part of the country and the landscape of the country. That's the history part. At the Kansas and Platte Rivers, June to July, 1804. There are many beavers here. There are also some nasty-tempered badgers. I love to pounce at the prairie dogs or barking squirrels as they pop their heads out of the ground. My favorite animal to chase is the squirrel. When I catch one, I take him to cook. He's glad to get it. Missouri River, north of Platte River, August 1804. The Otto and Missouri Indians invite Lewis and Clark to a council meeting where I helped Clark pass out coats, blankets, flags, and medals. Lewis spoke of peace and explained that the French and Spanish had sold the land to a new great father, the President of the United States, Thomas Jefferson. Mornings are cooler now and the geese are flying south. Today we saw our first coyote, or prairie wolf. And that's going to be the end of part 1. I will read part 2 next, but check the activities tab to see what your response is to what we just read. Okay, thank you for listening.